This happened about 2 years ago when I was living in Chicago. I'd matched with this girl on Hinge. Her name was Allie. She was a few years younger than me, said she was studying nursing, and lived not too far from my area. We texted for a few days, and she seemed cool. Chill sense of humor, super responsive. We decided to grab drinks on a Saturday night. I offered to pick her up, but she said she'd rather meet at the bar, which was totally fine. It was this trendy place downtown, not too loud, good lighting, kind of intimate, but still public. She showed up about 10 minutes after I got there, and I mean, she looked nothing like her photos. Not catfish level, but definitely old pictures, probably filtered, maybe a few years younger. But she was nice, a little fidgety, kept looking around the bar like she was waiting for someone, or watching for someone. Still, I tried to make the best of it. We ordered drinks, talked a bit, and I started noticing something odd. Every time I asked her about herself, she'd deflect. Like if I asked, "What made you go into nursing?" she'd say something like, "It's a long story," and then immediately ask me something personal. After about 30 minutes, she excused herself to the bathroom and took her drink with her. While she was gone, the bartender came over to me, this older guy, probably mid-40s, and asked, "Hey man, you know that girl?" I said, "Not really. First date." He nodded slowly, looked over his shoulder, then leaned in and said, "She's been in here before. Comes in with different guys, sometimes 2, 3 a week, and every time she brings a drink back from the bathroom. Just be careful." Now I was on alert. She came back, drink in hand, acting like nothing happened. But I noticed something. Her glass looked different. It was a little foggier than when she left, like condensation had built up, even though she'd only been gone maybe 5 minutes. I didn't touch my drink after that. I told her I wasn't feeling well, and that I was probably going to call it a night. She seemed a little irritated, but didn't push it. I paid for the drinks, mine untouched, and told her it was nice meeting her. As I stood up to leave, I saw her pull out her phone and start texting furiously. I left the bar and started walking back to my car, which was parked a few blocks away in a public garage. As I got to the end of the block, I realized someone was following me. A guy. Hoodie, hands in pockets, staying just far enough back to seem casual, but close enough that I could feel him. I stopped to tie my shoe. So did he. I turned a corner and waited. 30 seconds later, he turned the corner too. At that point, I sprinted, full on, through an alley, back onto a different street, and ducked into a convenience store. I watched through the window as the guy walked past, looking around, then eventually turned and went the other way. I waited there for 20 minutes before I walked back to my car, and even then, I checked under it, inside it, everything. I never saw Allie again, blocked her on everything the second I got home. But the next morning, I got a DM on Instagram from an account with 0 followers. No name, no posts, just a single message, "You're lucky." I matched with her on Bumble. Her name was Kat, blonde, kind of artsy, and from her photos, cute, casual, no heavy filters, just natural. Her profile said she liked bookstores, dogs, and late-night diners. We talked for a few days before I asked if she wanted to meet up. She suggested coffee, low pressure, daytime. I liked that. We met at this indie coffee shop near downtown. She was already there when I arrived, sitting outside, sunglasses on. She waved and gave me this soft smile. I remember thinking it looked off, like she was trying to look warm, but it wasn't reaching her eyes. Still, I sat down and the conversation started. It wasn't bad, but she didn't really ask much about me. She mostly talked about herself, her ex, her job, a neighbor she hated, and it all had this bitter edge to it. The weirdest moment was when I asked if she wanted another drink. She looked at me and said, totally serious, "Only if you're not planning to drug it." Then she smiled again, that same dead smile. I thought she was joking, a really dark joke, but she never laughed. Just sipped her coffee and changed the subject. I was ready to wrap it up, but she said, "Hey, you want to go for a walk?" The sun was starting to go down, and honestly, I didn't want to be alone with her anywhere isolated. So I made up an excuse, told her I had a call for work and had to head out. Her face dropped for a second, just for a moment. Then she smiled again and said, "No worries, maybe next time." I didn't plan on there being a next time. That night, I noticed I had a new follower on Instagram. No profile picture, no posts. Username was just random letters and numbers. I ignored it. The next morning, I had a DM. "You live on Oak Ridge, right?" I blocked the account immediately. Then I checked Bumble. Her profile was gone, not unmatched, gone. That same day, I came home from work and noticed something weird. A small Polaroid photo was tucked under my welcome mat. It was a picture of my house, taken from across the street. My bedroom light was on in it. I didn't call the cops. I should have, I know, but I felt stupid. I kept telling myself maybe it was a prank, maybe I was overthinking it. That night, I barely slept. I kept looking out the window every hour. The next morning, there was a second photo. This one was of me, sleeping, in my bed, shot through my window. I called the police then, showed them the photos. They took it seriously, started patrolling the area, but they never found her. Never even figured out her real identity. The phone number she used on Bumble was a burner. She'd never told me her last name. It's been almost a year. No more photos, no more messages. But I moved. I don't use dating apps anymore, and I've never not covered my windows at night since. It was a Friday night, early spring. My girlfriend Emily and I had dinner reservations at this little Italian place about 40 minutes from where we live, tucked into a quieter part of town near some back roads and woods. It was one of those spots with warm lighting, real candles on the tables, and soft piano playing in the background. The kind of place where you feel like nothing bad could happen. Dinner was great. We laughed a lot, split a bottle of wine, and lingered long enough that we were the last table to leave. It was almost 11:30 when we finally stepped outside. That's when I realized we were the only people on the street. No other foot traffic, no cars. Even the restaurant staff had already gone back inside and shut the door behind us. The night air was colder than I expected, and our footsteps echoed against the buildings as we walked to my car parked on a side street. I don't know what made me look behind us, but I did. There was a man across the street, not moving, just standing near a light pole. No phone in his hand, no dog, no cigarette, just standing and watching us. I didn't say anything to Emily because I didn't want to freak her out, but I quietly unlocked the car, hurried her in, and got in myself. As soon as I turned the engine on, I looked back. The man was gone. I pulled out a little faster than normal and took the quickest way to the main road. Emily was tired, so she leaned her head against the window and closed her eyes. About 10 minutes into the drive, we reached a rural stretch where the GPS cuts out. It's mostly dark, except for occasional reflective signs and mailbox numbers. That's when I noticed a pair of headlights behind us. At first I thought it was just another car taking the same route. But after every turn I took, every detour I made trying to throw it off, it followed, perfectly. No high beams, no trying to pass, just tailing us at a steady distance. I mentioned it to Emily and she sat up, instantly alert. We both stared at the mirror in silence. I tried slowing down. The car behind slowed too. I sped up. It did the same. At this point, I was getting seriously paranoid. I took a random right turn into a gravel farm access road. No signage, just dirt and scrub. The headlights behind us followed. Emily said, "Call the police." But we had no signal. I made a quick U-turn in the dirt and floored it back toward the main road. The other car didn't follow right away. For a few seconds, I thought we'd lost them. Then the headlights reappeared, this time speeding toward us. We reached the main road and I turned sharply left. A minute later, I saw a gas station up ahead. Lit, but clearly closed, not a 24-hour one. Still, I pulled in and parked under the lights near the front entrance. The car chasing us didn't pull in. It stopped on the road, just sat there for maybe 20 seconds. Then, slowly, it pulled away and disappeared into the night. We waited another 10 minutes before leaving. I took the longer way home, mostly sticking to lit streets. The next day, I checked my car's dashcam footage. It had the license plate of the other vehicle, clear as day. I reported it to the police. A week later, I got a call from a detective. The plate was registered to a stolen car, found abandoned just 2 towns over. No prints, no suspects, and no explanation. To this day, I don't know what that guy wanted. If he followed us from the restaurant, or if it was just bad luck. but I've never taken those back roads again, and I always watch my rearview mirror.